Welcome to this GiftWorks video. My name is Jonathan Lehman, and this video is the fourth video in a 5-part video series on GiftWorks Volunteers. GiftWorks Volunteers is an additional add-in that can be purchased, and it works with any of the current versions of the GiftWorks fundraising software. In the previous videos in this video series, I've covered how you can use GiftWorks Volunteers to set up and manage volunteer profiles, defining the skills and availability of your available volunteers. Also, how you can use it to set up and manage jobs, defining the desired and required skills and the date and time requirements for those jobs. I've also discussed how you need to screen the volunteers, put them through a screening process and mark them as accepted within GiftWorks Volunteers before they can be assigned to jobs. And we reviewed how you can assign jobs to volunteers or volunteers to jobs. In this video, we're going to continue. I'm going to show you how you can manage those job assignments and review job statuses. And we're also going to show you how you can record hours for volunteers. I'm going to begin signing into GiftWorks. If you've installed the Volunteers add-in, you'll have an additional option here in your toolbar called Volunteers. You click on that, it brings you to the landing page where much of the activity within Volunteers can be started. I'm going to click on Manage Jobs, and we'll scroll down here, and we'll go to the job that we've been working with, Office Assistant. If you remember when we left that, it's been filled. There were 2 positions. We've filled both of those, so that 2 of 2 assignments have been filled. You can see Jackie was one that we assigned, and we also assigned Nellie Gold. So as we're now in the future, when I first set these up, it was back in November of 2009. We're now in May, and Jackie and Nellie have finished their assignments. The person in our staff who was on maternity leave has returned, and we're going to manage these job assignments. So I'm going to go and I'm going to click on Manage. When I click on Manage Assignments, I can really use it to delete this assignment, edit an assignment, or close an assignment. If I delete the assignment, it's basically whether I don't want this person to be assigned to the, I want to remove the record that this person was assigned to this job. And that's not what I want to do in this case. I want to actually close the assignment. Edit it would just be to change the start date or the description. But in this case, I want to close the assignment. When I close the assignment, I give it a close date. So I'm going to give it say that this job actually completed the end of April. I could put in any comments like Jackie did a great job, and I have the opportunity to rate that volunteer's work for historical reference. So I would recommend her again. This refill position is important to understand. If once I close this assignment, I wanted to reduce the actual number of assignments that are available, then I would not refill this. I want to refill this position, and I would leave it with 2 assignments. So since the one is closed, I would still have 1 of 2 available, and I could refill that position. So in this case, I'm not going to refill the position. I'm just going to close the assignment and watch what happens here. I get a confirmation page. I would have the option here to record hours. I'm going to do that later. So at this point, I'll just click Finish. And you can see now that there's only really 1 assignment available, and that one's been filled. It's actually, until I close it, it's actually been marked as filled. So now you'll see that this 1 assignment has been closed, and the reason it's closed is because the date is in the past. If you ever have the date that's in the future, it will show pending closure until that close date is greater than the current date on your computer. So in this case, I'm going to manage the Nellie Gold assignment. I'm just going to show you how I can do this a little bit different. If I close this assignment and pick April 30th also. In this case, I'm going to refill the position. I want you to watch what happens here. It's not going to reduce this number, so there'll still be 1 assignment available. It's just that that assignment will now be left to be filled because the original one was closed. So if I say refill this position, when I'm done, it'll say 0 of 1 assignment has been filled. So basically, I closed the 2 original positions, but I now have 1 position available. So if I would edit the job, you would see that there now is, I need 1 volunteer. There's 1 volunteer necessary. Now in this case, I really wanted that job closed. I didn't want to refill it. I just wanted to show you what happened. So I'm just going to change that to 0 and save the job. And you'll see now that the job goes to a closed status because all the assignments have been filled, and all those assignments that have been filled are closed. It is now, the job now goes to a closed status. Let me click on Jackie Lehman. we'll over and show you can also work with assignments from a volunteer perspective. So you can see that from a volunteer perspective, Jackie has this one assignment that was closed. She has another one that's still open. So I could also do the same thing here. In this case, I just want to show you that I could delete the assignment. Deleting the assignment, I get the same question about refilling a position. But especially when in this case, I'm not going to check that. When I delete the assignment, how that assignment will go away. We click on volunteers again, go to manage jobs again. And let's go into another filled job here. We'll go into this delivery driver, and I just wanted to show you how the pending closure works. So if I would go into this job, and I'm going to manage this assignment, I'm going to close it. And I'm going to put the close date as today. Say close, finish. You notice how that goes into pending closure because it's not greater than today's date. Today's date, my computer date is currently set for May 3rd. And so you'll see the job still says filled. I can do the same thing for this assignment. Close the assignment. So you see both of these are pending closure and the job is still filled. Tomorrow, these jobs, the status of these assignments would go to closed and the job status would go to closed automatically. And I'll show you how you can record hours. You notice that when we were closing these assignments, we could have recorded hours right then. In fact, what I'll do is I'll go back here to another job here, and we'll just work with this assignment. I'll show you that in the process of closing an assignment, I go through those dialogues. On that last page of the dialogue, I have the option to actually record hours. So I can go in and when I'm done, I can record how many hours. So I can say that on this date, volunteer worked for 10 hours, and I can put any notes I want to and click save. There's many other places I can record hours. I'm going to go back to the main volunteers page. This is one of the main areas you can do. You can record volunteer hours here. You can pick a volunteer, such as let's pick Jackie, who we've been working with. And this is more of a batch entry. This is where you're going to enter a bunch of hours for Jackie, and you can save them all at once. So I'm gonna pick a date. I'm gonna go back on. Let's say she just kind of go through. She started on December 1st, and she worked 4 hours that day. I'm going to select the job, which is the office assistant job. I don't have to assign the job for hours. I can just assign hours to a volunteer. I'm going to select the office assistant. I'm going to record those hours. It automatically increments by date. It's assuming for this volunteer we might be going through a sequential process of adding hours. So in this case, and it keeps the job. So I'm just going to keep recording those hours. I could change the date up here if I need to, but it's kind of incrementing and giving me the process to just key a set of hours per day. If I need to skip a date, I can just change the date. So I'm just recording a batch worth of hours. I could change the job if I need to. Once I like all the hours that I've entered, I can save those. I could save and select a new volunteer or just save those hours. So I've just entered a bunch of hours for Jackie. I can also do the same thing from a job perspective. So if I go in and manage jobs, I could bring up the office assistant job. And over here on the left, I can record the hours worked for the office assistant. This is very similar, but from a different perspective. It's looking at it. I'm adding hours for this job. So I could pick a date. We'll go back here a little bit and put the date in. Back here in January, I can put the number of hours. I can select the volunteer. In this case, we'll do Nellie. I can record the hours. And again, it increments the date, leaves the volunteer the same. It's assuming I might be wanting, for this job, to enter a bunch of hours for this volunteer. But I could do it differently than that. I could enter some hours for Nellie. Then I could change the volunteer to Jackie. once I'm done, I can say, whoops, I didn't record those hours. Record those hours, and then when I'm done, I could save those. So there's different places where you can enter hours. You can also view the hours by clicking on the hours either on a job or a volunteer. And you can look at those hours. You can edit any one of those hours. Or you can delete the hours, or you can record individual hours here. So there's lots of different places you can do that. So from either a volunteer or a job, you have the ability to enter hours for a volunteer. You always need to assign them to a volunteer, but whether you assign them to a job is optional. We hope this video has been helpful. We encourage you to watch the 5th video in this video series.